Hello and welcome to the new video. Today we're going to take a look at the #1 spot on PvPoke. We want to take a look at the Registeel. But this Pokemon is barely getting any usage in the current meta game. And so we're going to take a look at a team that definitely works out pretty well towards this Pokemon. So definitely try this team out if you want to play your Registeel. But also we're going to talk here today about why this Pokemon might not have the usage that might be deserving. But yeah, today we're going to have a team here where we're going to have more of an, I don't know, it's not really an A, it's more like an ABC type of team here. It's not really anything too crazy. I guess we have two Pokemon weak to fire in the back, which usually doesn't hurt because there are not really that many fire type Pokemon currently around, but it can kind of hurt sometimes, what you're going to see here today as well. But basically, why is Registeel not as common anymore? There are actually two kind of factors. One of them is going to be Scald. Scald got buffed, going to allow you to basically encounter a Mudboy at least 3 times a set, which is something that definitely has to change in the future. I really hope that for the next season we're going to be able to get like a Scald nerf, because it definitely is long overdue. Like, I am kind of sick of Whiscash, and I think everybody is kind of sick of Whiscash, and of course we're going to even have some other Mudboys still available. But also Annihilape is now here, and Annihilape is a big issue for this Pokemon. So, why? Before we had Medicham meta, basically. Medicham meta allowed you to still actually have a decent chance to knock them out actually in the 0-shot scenario, and I think even in the 1-shot scenario sometimes with your Registeel, because they are usually running Ice Punch plus Psychic. So you're still gonna do neutral damage with your own charge moves, and they do resisted damage, and so like it was actually a fairly neutral matchup. Now you're going to have Shadow Ball against you. This is not resisted, plus counter, plus it's a way more attack weighted Pokemon doing way more damage against you. So the matchup against Annihilape is just way worse compared to the matchup that you had previously with the Medicham. So the meta itself just shifted kinda really against it, but still it is a very solid Pokemon. Like of course it's not going to be the craziest Pokemon ever, because there are going to be matchups where you're going to be up against Mudboys, which are going to be annoying, but it is a very, very good Pokemon to use. Like, for me, it's still like at least A tier, I would say. I wouldn't say it's S tier for sure, not, but it is a very solid Pokemon to use, so you can definitely try it out if you want to. Also, you have to be a little bit luckier with the Zap Cannon, because Zap Cannon got nerfed before. This Pokemon is not as potent anymore as well, because before Zap Cannon was a little bit too broken. Like, I think the nerf in terms of the chance of getting the debuff is kind of nice. I have to say, I got the debuff. I don't know, like, a lot of times I kind of would have liked to have the debuff where I didn't get it. That's kind of what I want to say about it. But here, for example, in this battle, it doesn't really matter. We're going to be able to knock them out. And as you saw already, we had now 2 battles where the Registeel was able to completely wall what the opponent had in the back. And this can actually happen quite often, which is really good to see. So, we're going to have a team here that you kind of want to play in a certain way. You kind of want to just try to win the lead, because you're going to have the hardest answer, basically, one of the hardest answers against fighting type Pokemon in the Trevenant in the back. Also, one of the hardest answers against Mudboys with the Trevenant in the back. That's why I kind of chose this. And also, you're going to have the Registeel, which is going to be one of the best answers against anti-flying type Pokemon, anti-grass type Pokemon, which are going to be flying type Pokemon, which I kind of want to say. So, for example, a Mantine, for example, a Scamry don't have any play against the Registeel. So the core in the back is kind of nice, and here we're gonna see kind of how you want to play it. We were able to align ourselves thanks to the Shadow Dragonair in the 1-shot scenario against the Pelipper. We can actually get some damage on here, and we're also going to be able to align ourselves. So we're going to have now the Galarian Stunfisk, not against our Registeel, but against our Trevenant instead here, which is going to be way better. So we can now try to just go for a Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball is going to be able to connect, going to get the shield from the opponent. So that kind of tells me they are weak against me in the back. As they're gonna decide to go straight for the Rock Slide, I know that I can try to Steam Peter against them. Very likely to be a water type in the back. Most likely something like a Mudboy or a Lantern. So let's see what it's going to be here. A Seed Bomb going to get the knockout, and it's going to be a Lantern. And so this game is kind of over. We can go for a Seed Bomb, and now they're going to be in range for just a Focus Blast. So this is going to be a good game. Registeel has insane amounts of bulk. So like, as you're gonna see here, I was able to catch a move just for fun, to be fair, because I know this game is over. And I just want to make them kind of forfeit here anyway. And we can move on to the next opponent. Mantine in the lead, a lead that you should be able to win in a 2-shot scenario with your Dragonair, because 1 Body Slam plus Dragon Breath is going to be enough to knock them out. There were some battles that mostly you would have been able to win if the game didn't lag as much. I had quite a lot of frame drops in like very important scenarios. I don't know how you can see this here as well during those battles, but like it's definitely something that kind of annoyed me during those battles here for sure. Here we're gonna see the area days coming through, not really an issue, as we can now align ourselves. We have 1 less shield than the opponent, but we can go ahead and go for an Awkward Tail against the opponent's yeah, Annihilate here, which is going to be great because we can now go into our Trevenant, and a lot of times they're going to be a Mudboy in the back here, so I decided to go for the shield as well, trying to go for the full farm down, hoping that there is a Mudboy in the back. Shadow Ball coming through, it is a Mudboy, it's going to be a Whiscash, and so these Seed Bombs are going to deal quite a lot of damage whenever they're going to connect, and we have quite a lot of energy advantage, and so while there is shield advantage, that shield advantage is going to be gone now, and so we're going to be able to now just try to reach another charge move there. Very likely going to go for a Scald here, trying to get the debuff, and it might actually knock me out, but I think I still would survive another one, and so I'll just stay in here, go for another Seed Bomb, and if it's going to be able to connect here, it is going to do quite a lot of damage, and I can even catch the move onto my Registeel, which will allow me to go for the full farm down here with a lock on. The attack drop doesn't matter, as lock on is always 1 damage anyway, and so as I can go into the Annihilate, we will be able to still tank a move here. Night Stitch is coming through, we can go for a charge move here against the Whiscash, and this is going to be kind of great for me, as we gonna see here Zapkin going to get the knockout, and we can move on to the next opponent. What you see here is actually a different team. This was a team that I tried previously, where I tried Registeel in the lead, and here's I think also the battle that kinda made me want to change this up a little bit. We're going to have actually a great lead here, right? Dragonair is going to be great in the lead, and here's something that I kinda wanted to really tell you about Registeel, and that's kinda also why I'm still in here. Kinda the thing with Registeel is you hit very, very hard with your charge moves, and so the best scenario for you is actually when the opponent does not really have any shields anymore, as you're going to be able to connect a very hard hitting Zap Cannon or a very hard hitting Focus Blast, and you have basically 0 fast move pressure with lock on. So for me, I feel like Registeel can only really be played in the back nowadays, because like back in the day it was a little bit different, because Pokemon were a little bit slower, a little bit less hard hitting as well. There was like a time where Pokemon that are way more bulky are going to be a little bit more better in general, so like the meta kind of shifted towards a little bit of a squishiness, which I kind of enjoy, which makes a lot of other Pokemon have a little bit more play as well. But for example here, this is going to be a matchup which is going to be a little bit tricky. We're forced to use a shield against the Victory Bell. I try my best to go for the full farm down here, which is not going to be able to work out, as you're gonna see here, so I'm forced to go for a Seed Bomb. But as you're gonna see, we basically lost a lot of health already from the Registeel in the beginning matchup, and so we're going to be in a kind of tough spot here. I was hoping that I'd have a little bit more energy on my Registeel that I can go for the full farm now. I tried to reach out for the Focus Blast, but again, while we had a kind of decent matchup here, it kind of showcases that, especially against like Dragon Breath users or whatever, like you don't really want to have your Registeel in the 2-shield scenario. So moving back to the team that I actually would prefer, in like your case as well here, is going to be the Dragonair in the lead. Going to make you a little bit better in the 2-shield scenario, and you can just force shields, which is like the cool thing about Dragonair. You can really force shields from opponents because you're so spammy, because you do so much damage with your fast move alone. And so it is a great Pokemon to use. In comes Lickitung. What you're going to try to do here is to catch a move, which works out perfectly. Against Lickitung, if you stay in for a little bit like I did here, you kind of put them into a range where one Focus Blast is enough to knock them out, or like gets them into a range where you can lock on them down, which is kind of very important here. So that's why I stayed in for that long, not only to catch a move, but also get them into range where just one Focus Blast is all it needs to knock them out. And as you can see here, it is not going to knock them out straight away, but we can go for the full farm down before they can go for a charge move, which is even better for us. In comes again the Lantern, and we can try to go for another charge move, but because I have 2 Pokemon that are very decent against the Lantern, I'd rather swap out of here, as it doesn't really matter in which Pokemon I'm gonna go to. Trevenant is gonna get walled by the Wigglytuff, but it's better to be in the Trevenant slot here, because if I went into my Dragonair, Wigglytuff would have even been worse for me. So, we can still go for a double Seed Bomb. This is gonna put them into farm down range if they let this move go through, but they actually decide to use a shield, so yeah, it doesn't really matter. We can go back into our Registeel, we can let the move go through from the opponent, and we still have a shield left and energy on a Dragonair, and so this game is over. Icy Wind coming through, doesn't matter, Focus Blast gonna knock them out, and so we can move on basically to the next opponent, as they're going to realize now, yep, there's nothing that they can do, and we can move on to the next opponent. Deoxys in lead. This game was actually quite interesting. Deoxys in lead is actually kind of decent for you if they stay in for a little bit longer, because as you can see here, Dragon Breath is chunking away. I always say this if I encounter like Deoxys with a 1-turn fast move user. You're going to do way more damage with a 1-turn fast move user against a Deoxys than, for example, with like anything else basically. So basically also the matchup for the Registeel against Deoxys is quite good for the Registeel, mainly because you do quite a lot of damage with the lock-on. Why is it so? Because Deoxys has an insanely high defense stat, actually not anymore in the top 3 stat, which you see or saw already. Actually, you're gonna see it most likely today still. But anyway, like basically, this Pokemon has a very low HP stat, and so Lock On or like any one-turn move is doing quite a lot of damage against those Pokemon because the defense stat doesn't really matter too much for that. And so here we're going to be able to still go for another charge move. I hope for a debuff. This would be very important to get one, and we don't. And that's something that I kind of want to showcase here as well. If I got the debuff, I would have had a way different game here, because they would have been forced to throw the charge move way earlier, and we still have here one of the hardest ends in the back, which is going to be a little annoying. But Gustlord is still going to be something that we can still deal with if this Shadow Ball lands, and it does land. And so we still have a little bit of a chance, because we have so much energy here. We could go ahead and go for 2 body slams, and I make a crucial mistake here. You're going to see it here. It might not actually matter, because you're going to see it anyway. But I decided to go for 1 body slam, but not for the next one, because I thought I need the extra damage. But this was actually not really my play, because the Deoxys has energy. I kind of need to get to a charge move here. But yeah, as you can see here, it doesn't really matter. I think if I didn't get the extra Dragon Breath in there, I might still get to a Dragon Claw against me. So I don't think it really mattered, but it might have been my only way to win this game. But I lost it here, so good game there. Well played. I think it was maybe winnable if I played a little bit differently. Speaking of fire types from the beginning here, I don't know if there's all of them in there, because I did quite a lot of battles with this team here, which actually worked out really well, like, so I can highly recommend to you. But the amount of Talonflame that I all of a sudden encountered was kind of annoying. So like, yeah, Talonflame can be a little bit tricky here. I think I kind of misplayed this game a little bit. I'm not too sure, but let's take a look at this. We're going to see the opponent going for another charge move here. I can go back into my Dragonair, and I want to see something here. Because I decided to use a shield, all fine. Can I reach the body slam in time? Would I be able to reach it? No, okay. That was not a misplay by me. I maybe could have tried to catch the move then, but I thought maybe I was able to go for the body slam here, but I wasn't, because I got the move when the opponent just threw the charge move. So like, it's all fine there. Definitely not really misplayed by me. We're going to see actually a very decent matchup for me in the back here for the Registeel, but as you're going to be in a scenario where we don't have shields and we don't have any other Pokemon, it doesn't really matter that we're going to be kind of decent against this Venusaur, as we can go for a Zapcan. 2 Zapcan is going to be enough. Because sadly, the Azumarill here going to be kind of a pain. There's one way of still winning this game if I get a debuff here, and if they're going to run Play Rough plus Ice Beam. But as you're gonna see, they're gonna get the debuff, which is kind of great for me. Do they run Play Rough or Ice Beam? They're running Hydro Pump, so I can forfeit. Otherwise, I would have been most likely able to just go for an Under Charge, try to farm up energy, go for the Zapcan before the opponent gets to another Frenzy Plant with a Venusaur, and I would have been fine. But let's move on to the next opponent. Here we're going to see quite an interesting way of playing this by me. I could have went into my Trevenant, which would have been able to resist both of the charge moves, but I'd rather go ahead and go into my Registeel. Why? Because there is a team right now that is running the Draco Meteor on the what's called Gudra here, which might be a little bit tricky for the Trevenant. And also, I get way more energy here with the lock-on. In comes a Wailmer, which caught the move on a Greedent, so a very interesting team here from the opponent. By the way, we're close to Legend Elo range. I think they are already Legend here anyway, so it doesn't really matter for them. But still kind of funny here to see that it doesn't really matter in general, because you're going to be easily able to win this game. As you're going to see here, but as I'm coming through, I can still go for a Zap Cannon. Zap Cannon is going to be able to take the knockout here. And as I can swap out into my Trevenant, the opponent is supposedly going to forfeit here, because what are they going to do here with a Wailmer? Next opponent. This is going to be kind of nice for us as well, because it's going to be the Mantine, which we know we can definitely align ourselves. Aligning is, again, very important for this team. So trying to play this one out very carefully is going to be very important. So if they go up to an Ice Beam range, just go for a shield. You rather want to align yourself. In comes the Annihilate. Not really great for me, because they're going to be able to survive this next charge move, and maybe I misplay this one as well. I'm not too sure about it, because I think it's actually the right call to let the Shadow Ball go through. Why? They had some energy on the Mantine. So like for me, I don't think it would really work out for me. I could have either went for the full farmland before that, or yeah, I don't know. Like I don't think this was the right call to use a shield there, so I decided no shield. And then comes a Gligar. This is still going to be a little bit of a trickier one though, because Gligar is going to have access to the Dig, which is going to be super effective against my Pokemon in the back. But I would imagine that they're most likely going to try to swap out eventually into the Mantine, and they do exactly this. I can store one Awkward here, and they can swap out into my Registeel. And I'm going to go for a little bit of a bold play, and I'm not too sure if this is going to work out here at this point, but I decided to go for the full lock-on down. This is scary. If they have a Dig stored, I'm going to be screwed. But also, if they're going to get to 3 of those Water Pulses, I'm going to be screwed. So let's see if we can actually pull it off. We can knock them out here. Can we go for the charge move? We can. But do we also get the shield here is my question. Do we get the shield? We do get the shield. And so Awkward Tail should be kind of fine here for us, especially as we can reach another focus blast, and I'm not giving the opponent any kind of time to breathe here as I swap out immediately, go for the awkward tail, knock them out, and win this final game. So yeah, that's going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to leave a like. You're going to see me here claiming my set as well. As you can see, fairly solid results with this team. So hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.